what's different about this functions test than last functions test? Well, almost all the questions are different, except we do expect you to know these two old ones. I told you we'd have to do this over and over again. Two-step equations in there, except it's just different. It's like now it's got a function in it. So anyway, try this one. And then the other thing that you have to still know is how to solve something like this. All right, so one thing at a time. Write this down. Solve it. Math is not like a lot of your other subject areas where you can just dump last test. Math, last test just keeps coming back. All right, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. If you didn't start that way, you should have. 7, and then divide both sides by 2. That cancels. Your final answer is written just like this. Notice the equal sign comes straight down. And 7 over 2, if you used a calculator, you'd get 3.5. Why do I think that's smarter? Only because if this had been 8 over 2 and you left it that way, then it's not reduced and I have to mark it wrong. Do you get if it had been 8 over 2, the calculator would have divided it for you and given you 4? My point is if you by accident leave a fraction not reduced, you get it wrong. If you leave a decimal, it's okay. Because decimals, like this was 7 over 2. 7 over 2 would have been fine. It's just that maybe it needed to be reduced and you didn't notice. Okay, next thing is this one. This splits into 2 equations. 2x plus 3 is 4, and 2x plus 3, what do I put there? Negative 4. Okay, solve that one. 2 answers this time. Notice, always bring the equals straight down. Always draw a line under it. You don't have to, but it keeps you organized. 4 minus 3 is 1. These are gone. 2x equals 1. A lot of people hold up to the end and then all of a sudden they just like go freelance. Just stick to the system. Divide by 2, x equals. And then if you have a calculator, you divide them and you get 0.5. I'm fine with 1/2. 1/2 and 0.5 are the same thing. But if it had been 4/8, do you get, it wouldn't have been reduced, and 0.5 doesn't have to be reduced. So fractions and decimals actually have that advantage. Never see yourself reducing a decimal. This side, subtract 3, and the reason they don't just come out pretty much the same except opposite is right there, because that is -7. 2x equals -7. And like I said last time, I would use the calculator and divide that, and it would say -3.5. All right. Now, I know some of you don't have a calculator out. Take out a calculator. You're going to want one for later. If you don't have one, then you're giving yourself a disadvantage by not having that and getting used to your calculator. If I were you, I'd get one of those fancy pants graphing ones because you'll use them this class, you'll use it next year, and you'll use it the year after that. And they're really, really handy. If you don't have one and you can't afford one, you should talk to me. All right. So here's the kind where they come from a graph. I'm going to give you the 3 points so that you don't have to try to interpret like, how far up is that? Okay, so that's going to be 3, 4. That right there is going to be -2, -1. And that right there is going to be 7, -1. Okay, would you know what to do if I said f of -2? Don't say it. Don't say it, please. I'm happy if you know it, but don't say it. Just write down the answer. What is f of -2? So what you ask yourself is, did Mr. Server just tell me x or did he tell me y? And this is the x spot. So I just said hey, x is negative 2. There's only one spot on the whole graph where x is negative 2. Yes, the answer is negative 1. All right. Then how about f of x, whoa, I didn't tell you x, equals 4. Would you agree that f of x is the same exact thing of y? So I didn't tell you x. I told you y. So if I just say y is 4, that's not really a question. So the question is, so x must equal what? Talk to the kid next to you and see if you think the same thing as them.
I said 3.
Good, the answer was 3. So I want to just remind you, anytime you have a point, this means f of 3 equals 4. That's what that means. Okay. And now how about chart kind? X, f of x, g of x. Please do not copy this chart. It will just, it would just cost you a whole bunch of minutes of your life. And I'm happy with you just answering the questions I give you about the chart. What is f of 1? Don't say it. Just write. All you need to write is this part, the answers. What's f of 1? What's g of 1? Now they get a little trickier. What's 4 g of 0? And just start with g of 0 and realize that that means 4 times. And last but not least, f of, nope, sorry, g of f of 0. Now, you might have been clipping along like, I got this stuff. And then all of a sudden, if you don't know how to do these two, you can't get an A or a B. You'd be stuck with a C. So if you don't get that kind, this is the moment where you've got to get it. So I think most of you are sitting there going, yeah, f of 1's easy. F is like, you know the column that says f, and f of 1 is where x is 1. See, this is the x spot. X is 1. So you follow it over here to the f column, and you get 1. F of 1 is 1. G of 1, you go a little further because you go to the G column. G of 1 is 8. And I think most of you had those. But did you know what to do with the next two? G of 0. Now, that's not that hard. But it's just that there's a 4 in front. Well, ignore the 4 to start with. Figure out G of 0. Once you realize it's 6, a lot of people put 6 here. No, that is not 6. It's going to be 4 times this is 6. That's where you should put the 6. If you figured out G of 0 is 6, you put it there. And now you go 4 times 6 is 24. Get what happened there? This part was 6. I know most of you had a 6, but did you know that you put it there and you do 4 times 6 is 24? All right, and then the last one, you start on the inside, of course. And if you can't do f of 0 by now, you really need to talk to me during work time. But I think most of you can do f of 0, and f of 0 is 2. But did you know to put it here? So you just cross off the f of 0 and replace it with what it's equal to. It's equal to 2. Now I do g of 2. And g of 2 gives you 10. Who had 10 for that last answer? Nice. All right. So now we've done it with charts. We've done it with graphs. And then there's only one other kind, and that's where they're just equations. Any questions about this? Like, how did you get this? Or how did you get that? I'd be happy to answer. Okay. Then here's the kind where I give you equations. F of x, don't write them down. You wouldn't have to on the test. It'd say it at the top. F of x is 2x plus 5. G of x is the absolute value of x minus 3 absolute value plus 1, what's f of g of 1? Hint, start with g1. Remember that the absolute values, when you're done inside them, to get the stuff out of the absolute value, you just always make it positive. The absolute values, just make your answer positive. What they mean is how far is it from 0? That's a distance. The distance is always positive, so they come out of there positive. And let's say you figured out this was 4. It's not, but let's say you thought it was 4. Then you do f of 4. All right. Maybe you should compare two answers with people. What you thought this part was, and then if you don't have the same answer for the inside, well, then you won't get the right answer, right? Both have to have the same answer for the inside. And then f of that. So there's two parts. The inside answer was this, and the final answer was that. Talk to the kid next to you. See what they think. All right, a lot of people say, I got 3 and then, and that's perfect because this is 3. So how is it 3? You stick a 1 in here, and 1 minus 2 is negative 2, but then it absolute values to make it positive 2. Plus 1 is 3, so that is 3. And then it's f of 3. So you stick the 3 in here, and you get 6 plus 5 is 11. Who had an 11 for this answer? Okay, awesome. So now I feel like you're ready. I feel like we may have pulled together any last little pieces. So I'm going to give you this quiz by yourself. I know you're sitting by somebody, and if you just want to check 1 or 2 with them, I guess I'm okay with that. But I don't want... See, the bad part of working on partnerism, if one of the two people does all the work, then the other kid thinks, yeah, I got this, because the other kid helped him with every problem. I want you to do this yourself. If you want to check on 1 with the kid next to you or something, that's fine. Maybe 2. But let's see how you can do this by yourself. When you're done with it, there's a Schoology quiz that is open and ready to go. So when you're done with this, go right to the homework. If you use your time efficiently today, I think you can walk out of here completely prepared for the test with no homework, because you're already done with it. Now, I made this by hand, this worksheet, last night, because I felt like it was better than the reviews we had. It took a lot of time to make this thing. I did that because I know that these will be just perfect for being hard enough, but not too hard. And it'll, especially if you can't handle any of these, you know you're not ready for the test. I mean, it'll make sure that you'll get at least a C. Handling back your stuff. If you can do well on this, you're gonna get at least a C. Alright. And of course, I don't want a C for all of you. I want you to have a minimum of a C with a chance at getting those extra 5%, pulling yourself up to a B or an A. That's all I got for the video for today.